Flight attendant shocked after discovering young girl in economy is airline owner's daughter. On a bustling Friday afternoon in Dallas, the clamor of travelers filled the airport. Among the chaos, Sarah, a young flight attendant with dreams bigger than her Navy uniform, sensed the weight of the world on her shoulders. At 28, every day felt like a balancing act between ambition and responsibility. As she maneuvered through the throngs of passengers, she caught sight of little Lily, propped against the window in a cramped economy seat, her eyes shimmering with wonder and apprehension. The cheerful laughter around them seemed miles away from the little girl's solitude. "Are you okay?" Sarah knelt down to meet the girl's gaze, brushing a stray lock of hair behind her ear. Lily shrugged, her small hands clutching a stuffed rabbit as if it were a life raft. "I'm just waiting for my dad," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the drone of the engine. Sarah's heart sank. Knowing her father was the elusive billionaire who owned this very airline, a man she'd heard the crew criticize for his practices that widened the socioeconomic gap. "Have you always wanted to fly?" Sarah asked, attempting to draw out a smile. With a shy nod, Lily confided her dream of a day filled with fun and adventure, a life far removed from the pressures of wealth. "I wish I could have a normal day just like you," she said, eyes wide with hope. In that moment, Sarah saw the world behind Lily's luxury, a vulnerability that resonated with her own struggles. But duty beckoned, and as Sarah poured drinks and handed out snacks, she couldn't escape whispers from the crew about a surprising promotional trip that threatened to make or break the airline's reputation. Her chest tightened. The risk of such an opportunity meant the jobs of countless employees, including her mother, who had poured her life into supporting them. Suddenly, the plane jolted. An emergency arose mid-flight. Panic gripped the cabin, but Sarah's instincts kicked in. She quickly directed her colleagues and the frightened passengers, the adrenaline rushing through her veins, lending her strength. "Stay calm. Follow my lead," she urged, heart racing. The praises of passengers filled her ears, yet in the chaos, her thoughts were on her mother and what this trip could mean for their lives. In the midst of the turmoil, the unexpected happened. Lily's father appeared in the aisle, concern etched across his face. Sarah's bravery was on full display, and it struck a chord within him. He watched as she navigated the crisis with grace and decisiveness. Perhaps leadership isn't just about wealth, but about connection and empathy. As the storm settled, Sarah and Lily shared a tearful goodbye. "Will I see you again?" Lily asked, her bright eyes glistening. "You never know," Sarah smiled softly, a bittersweet ache filling her heart as she watched the little girl leave with her father, a swirl of emotions binding them across their vast divides. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As Sarah stepped off the plane, the weight of the recent events pressed heavily upon her. Her mother, waiting by the terminal, beamed with pride yet worry. Fighting the pang of her dilemma, Sarah contemplated whether to remain true to her values or chase the enticing escape that could lift her family from struggle. The allure of possibility was strong, but at what cost? Tears brimmed her eyes as doubts lingered in the air. The truth about her identity, a flight attendant dreaming of a brighter future, remained both a beacon and a burden, leaving Sarah questioning her path and how far she'd go to protect the dreams that weighed on her heart. Sarah's thoughts churned like the storm clouds that had just passed through the sky. As she walked toward her mother, each step felt heavier than the last, memories of Lily's hopeful eyes echoing in her mind. "Mom," she said, her voice trembling. Today was different. Her mother, noticing the shift in her daughter's demeanor, frowned slightly. "What happened? Was there trouble on the flight?" "It was chaotic. An emergency situation," Sarah replied, glancing behind her as if expecting to see Lily's father. "But that's not it. It was the little girl sitting by the window. Her name is Lily. She's his daughter." "His?" Her mother's expression turned to shock, and confusion washed over her. "You mean the owner of the airline?" Sarah nodded, the sting of that revelation blending with the pangs of her own struggles. I spoke with her. She wanted so badly to experience something normal. The two of them stood under the busy airport lights, surrounded by travelers rushing to catch their flights. For Sarah, the world seemed to shrink around them, the bustling terminal a stark contrast to the thoughts racing through her mind. I could have told her everything, Mom. How hard life is for us, how much we sacrifice. Do you think he knows? Her mother asked quietly, tilting her head, worried about Sarah's feelings. I don't know, Sarah said, frustration simmering within her. Maybe he just doesn't care. But deep down, she wondered, could his perception change after seeing a glimpse of genuine compassion? She pictured Lily's father, a man sealed off from the realities of life, now witnessing one of his employees respond to real fear and uncertainty. Sarah's gaze dropped to the bustling crowd. She remembered Lily's innocence and how the little girl had embraced the fragility of normalcy. What if I could help Lily find that normalcy again? What if I could show her there's more to life than just luxury? Be careful, honey, her mother pressed, concern in her eyes. You know he could easily take your dreams and crush them just like that. She snapped her fingers, the sound echoing in Sarah's heart. But what if there was another way? What if she could change the narrative? That night, Sarah lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her own dreams swirled into focus amid the chaos. A dream of possibility beyond the airways. Would a connection with Lily's father offer both the escape she craved and the chance to advocate for those who, like her, lived in the shadows of wealth? Before sleep took her, a thought blossomed in her mind, urgent and bright. What if she reached out to him? What if she expressed her concerns about the company and the effects of their decisions on everyday lives, even his own daughter's world? As dawn broke, she felt a flicker of hope and determination. Armed with her thoughts and her memories of Lily, Sarah picked up her phone hesitantly. Could this be the bridge to a broader change? But just as she began typing, a notification popped up. It was a message from one of the crew members. Emergency meeting owner wants to discuss today's incident. Your presence is required. Panic washed over her. She needed to decide quickly. Would she speak her heart and risk everything? Or would she hold back, fearing the repercussions? As she stared at the screen, the weight of her dilemma settled in. This meeting could change everything or lead her deeper into the trap of her own insecurities. Just then, her phone buzzed again. A familiar name flashed on the screen, sending her heart racing. Lily's father was calling. What was he about to say? Sarah's heart drummed in her chest as she glimpsed the name on her screen. She took a deep breath, hesitating just a moment before answering. Hello? She managed to get out, nerves making her voice waver. Sarah. His voice was deep and commanding, yet there was a gentleness laced within it. Thank you for your actions today. I heard about what happened on the plane. She swallowed hard, words catching in her throat. I just did what any flight attendant would do. No, you went beyond that, he insisted. You comforted Lily when she needed it most. I personally appreciate that. Her chest tightened with conflicting emotions. The man on the other end was the very embodiment of privilege, but in that moment, he sounded like a concerned father, and it tugged at something deep within her. She was scared. I just wanted her to feel safe, she replied softly, choosing her words carefully. Believe me, I know how difficult it can be, he said, his voice tinged with something resembling regret. Lily rarely gets to experience anything outside of her world. My job has kept me trapped. Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with empathy. Maybe there was more common ground here than she had anticipated. She just wants to feel normal, like the rest of us, she said, her words flowing with newfound courage. There was a pause, as if he was processing what she said. I feel that too, he finally admitted. I care for Lily more than anyone. If I ever let her down, I can't forgive myself. At that moment, something shifted in Sarah. Maybe he wasn't just a distant figure in a suit. Perhaps he really cared, not just about Lily but about everything around him. What do you think she needs? How can I help? I don't know, he started, hesitating. I need to show her that the world is about more than just luxuries and airs. Maybe you could help me with that. She felt her breath catch. Could this man, with all his resources, really want her help? You want me to help with your daughter? Yes. There is so much about life I've lost touch with. Your kindness and compassion might be exactly what we both need. As they exchanged a few more tentative breaths of dialogue, Sarah started to envision something greater than a temporary connection. Instead, it could blossom into a collaboration of understanding, perhaps even turning Lily's innocent quest for normalcy into a shared journey. But just as hope began to seep through the cracks of her doubts, he added, "I'll arrange for us to meet soon. There are some things I need to discuss with you, but you must keep this between us for now." "What kind of things?" she asked, curiosity surging within her. "Let us just say there are changes ahead for the airline and those who work in it. Your insight could make a difference, but I can't promise an easy road." His words lingered like a heavy mist, thickening the air. Would she be ready to navigate this uncertain path with him? "I'll help, whatever it takes," she replied, a newfound determination filling her heart. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "I'll be in touch." As the call ended, Sarah felt both exhilaration and dread mingle in her chest. She was stepping into an uncharted territory, one that could either liberate her or lead to ruin. With her heart still racing, she glanced at the mirror, catching her reflection. There was a spark in her eyes she had not seen before. And as she thought of Lily, the tiny girl searching for the world beyond glass windows, a thought flickered in her mind. What if her actions could truly change lives, starting with Lily's? But before she could fully embrace that thought, another notification buzzed on her phone, another message from the crew. "Meeting in 10 minutes. Would this be the moment that set everything into motion? Would she embrace the risks ahead or retreat into the comfort of uncertainty? As she took a deep breath, preparing to step into the unknown, another question pierced through the buzzing thoughts. What if she found more than just a way to help a little girl? What if this led her to uncover secrets that could threaten everything she'd ever known? The meeting room buzzed as Sarah entered, a mix of familiar faces and anxious energy greeting her. The tension in the air felt palpable, a reminder that the world she was stepping into had its own expectations and secrets. She took in her fellow crew members, each of them gathered around the long table, their eyes darting toward her with a mixture of interest and speculation. "Sarah, you made quite the impression yesterday," Amy said, rising to give her a quick hug. "I heard Lily was shaken up, but you really came through." "Thanks, Amy," Sarah replied, trying to keep her nerves under control. She wasn't just nervous about being recognized for her actions. She was anxious about everything that had happened after the call. Tom, the head of the crew, cleared his throat, calling attention. "All right, team. I know many of you are eager to hear about today's agenda." He glanced at Sarah, and there was a knowing smile on his face. "But first, I want to recognize our flight attendants for their incredible work in managing yesterday's turbulence." As he began detailing the logistics, Sarah's mind drifted. What had begun as an ordinary flight had turned into something that felt like the beginning of a new chapter. When she thought of the call she'd had, she felt the excitement and weight of possibility pressing in on her. The idea that she'd help bridge Lily to a world beyond her father's wealth stirred something deep inside her. "Sarah," Tom's voice broke through her thoughts. "Could you share what it was like managing the situation with Lily?" The room turned silent, all eyes on her. She took a breath, steadying herself. Honestly, it was just about being there for her. She needed someone to listen, to reassure her. "I just focused on making her feel safe." "That's what good flight attendants do," a younger crew member chimed in, and the room buzzed with murmurs of agreement. Yet, Sarah felt a heaviness creep in. What if things in this airline weren't as simple as they appeared? Tom nodded. "And that's exactly why we called this meeting. There are changes coming from upper management that might affect us all. It's important to stay informed." As he began to outline the changes, Sarah's pulse quickened. Could whatever was brewing in the company be linked to the conversation she'd had? She thought of the man Lily's father who'd trusted her with something beyond a simple acknowledgement of gratitude. What was he planning? "Let us ensure our crew is ready for anything. We all know the image of our airline rests on our shoulders," Tom continued, while Sarah noticed a few hushed conversations breaking out among her colleagues. The atmosphere shifted. Members looked towards each other with more than just camaraderie. There was an undercurrent of anxiety and suspicion about what lay ahead. Sarah felt herself caught in the middle. While she had hoped for a journey toward growth and understanding, was the path also treacherous? As the meeting began to wrap up, Tom added, "We'll get more details soon. Please remain vigilant." Approaching Sarah, Amy lowered her voice. "What is really going on with Lily's dad? I mean, Do you think it's possible he is going to change things up? I'm not sure, Sarah replied honestly, her heart heavy with uncertainty. But I can't shake the feeling that whatever is coming could mean more than just changes on paper. There is so much at stake. Just as they exited the meeting room, Sarah's phone vibrated again. Another message from that mysterious caller, stirring her curiosity. Meet me after your shift. I have more to discuss about Lily and the future of the airline. She stood frozen for a moment in the bustling hallway. Could she really be dragged into this web of secrets? What if it brought more chaos than clarity? What if she had to confront consequences she wasn't ready for? With all these swirling fears, one question blared in her heart: would stepping into this unknown really be worth the risk? Or would it lead her to uncover the very truths she would fear to face? The rest of the day felt like a blur. Sarah went through the motions of her shift, preparing for takeoffs and landings, but her mind was a whirlwind. Each passenger she greeted seemed to hold a piece of the puzzle she couldn't quite fit together. The weight of the message lingered at the back of her mind, pulling her focus away from the cheerful conversations around her. At last, the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting an orange glow through the airport terminal. It was time for her to meet the stranger who held the promise of clarity or chaos. She slipped out the back entrance, the warm breeze tousling her hair as she moved toward the designated spot, a coffee shop tucked away from the heavy foot traffic. The familiar scent of roasted coffee beans wafted over her, but it failed to comfort her. She spotted a man leaning against a lamppost, his silhouette striking. As she drew closer, she recognized the intensity in his gaze. It was the same look she had seen in Lily's father, a mingling of strength and burden. "Sarah," he said, extending his hand. "Hello. I got your message," she replied, shaking his hand. The warmth of his grip compelled her to take a seat, though a part of her wanted to bolt. "Thank you for coming. It's important that we discuss Lily and the implications of everything that is happening at the airline," he began, his voice steady yet edged with urgency. "What do you mean? What is going on?" Her heart raced. He glanced around, ensuring no one paid attention before leaning closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "My daughter isn't just a passenger. She is also part of a bigger scheme that could transform this airline entirely. Changes that could put your job at risk, and more importantly, Lily's life in danger." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "What are you saying?" Her world is surrounded by influence and power. There are people who would do anything to maintain control, and they want to care who gets hurt in the process. "I need your help to protect her." He paused, his expression shifting, desperation flaring in his eyes. "Lily trusts you. You've already shown her a glimpse of freedom, but I need you to go further." Her instincts screamed at her to run, to walk away from this man and the mess he was presenting. But the image of Lily vulnerable, lost held her in place. "What do you want me to do?" "I need you to be her eyes and ears around the airline. Keep her safe, but also keep an eye on anyone who seems suspicious. The changes coming aren't just about new policies. They're a setup for something much darker." Sarah's head spun. Could she really take on this responsibility? Wasn't she just supposed to be a flight attendant, offering smiles and drink carts? But this was bigger than her own fears. "And if I refuse?" He closed his eyes, as if bracing for her words. "If you refuse, you risk the chance of Lily falling back into a life that could suffocate her. The risk isn't just hers. It could affect your crew, everyone you work with." The urgency in his voice struck a chord deep within her. The stakes felt impossibly high. "I'll do it," she whispered, her decision wrapping around her like a shroud of resolve. "Good," he replied, relief washing over his face. "But understand, the path is fraught with danger. You'll learn things you wish you hadn't. Trust won't come easy." As they parted ways, a swell of determination mingled with fear. She raced through the parking lot, nerves crackling beneath her skin. Was she stepping into a realm of shadows and intrigue? Could she genuinely make a difference? But just as she settled into the driver's seat, another notification pinged on her phone. With trembling fingers, she glanced at the screen, her heart instantly racing anew. Lily's father is not who he says he is. What did that mean? The threads of her new reality tangled tighter, and she had no idea whether she was prepared for the web of truth waiting to unfold. Would she find the strength to untangle it? As Sarah sat in her car, the notification burned into her vision. Lily's father is not who he says he is. It echoed in her mind like a drumbeat, an unsettling rhythm that urged her to act. Who was he, really? The man's stoic demeanor from earlier suddenly seemed more like a mask than a persona. She thought of Lily, the trusting smile, the innocent laughter. How could she protect someone she barely knew when the stakes were so high? She took a deep breath, trying to steady the turmoil inside her. What if this was all spiraling out of control? Doubt gnawed at her, but she couldn't ignore the urgency of the situation. If there were threats lurking in the shadows, she needed to prepare herself for whatever lay ahead. Pulling out her phone, she typed a quick message to Lily. "Hey, can we talk? Important stuff." After hesitating for a moment, she hit send. It took mere seconds for the response to pop up. "Sure. Meet you at the cafe before my flight." Smiley face. Sarah rubbed her temples, steeling herself for the conversation. She drove to the cafe, her heart pounding as she thought about how to approach Lily without raising alarm. Would the girl even understand? When she arrived, she spotted Lily seated at a table, bouncing eagerly while flipping through her phone. The sight broke through Sarah's tension for just a moment. The girl was a bright light in this growing darkness. But as Sarah drew closer, that light tugged at her heart in a bittersweet way. Did she have the right to draw Lily deeper into this turmoil? "Hey, Sarah." Lily's eyes beamed up at her. "I'm so glad you could make it." "Of course. How have you been?" Sarah asked, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Busy, but good. Ready for my big trip tomorrow," Lily chirped, not yet aware of the weight hanging between them. "Listen, I need to talk to you about something important," Sarah started, focusing on keeping her voice calm. Lily's smile faltered. "Is it bad?" "No. Well, maybe I'm just worried about some things. You know, sometimes adults hide stuff from kids." Lily leaned in, curiosity peaking. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Like what?" "Like your dad." Sarah hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "There's something I think you should know. About who he really is and why he has been so involved with the airline." Lily shifted in her chair, the initial excitement in her eyes now clouded with uncertainty. "Dad helps people. He is a good guy." "Yes, he is. But there are layers to everything, and sometimes it's hard for us to understand." Suddenly, the cafe door swung open, and a rush of wind spun papers off nearby tables. A man walked in, tall, authoritative, with a presence that demanded attention. Sarah's heart sank. He scanned the room, and Sarah's instinct told her he was trouble. "Who is that?" Lily asked, following Sarah's gaze. "That's someone I think we should avoid," she replied, trying to maintain an airy tone despite the tightness in her chest. But Lily frowned. "Is he going to hurt us?" "I don't know," Sarah admitted quietly, her resolve hardening. "But we need to be careful. Can you trust me?" "Always," Lily replied, which made Sarah's chest swell unexpectedly as they sat there. A charged moment passed between them, an invisible bond beginning to form, vibrant against the encroaching shadows. Just then, her phone buzzed again. "Meet me. There's more to Lily's dad than you know. It's time you find out the truth." The urgency thundered inside her as she realized the rabbit hole was dug deeper than she could have imagined. Would she uncover something that would threaten not only her life, but Lily's as well? The clock was ticking, and the layers were peeling back. What would happen next? Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the message. She felt cold sweat trickle down her back. There was no time to waste. She dismissed the idea of confronting Lily about her father right now. Instead, she needed answers, and fast. "Lily, I'll be right back. I just need to make a quick call," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. "Okay, don't take too long," Lily replied, oblivious to the intensity of Sarah's thoughts. Stepping outside the cafe, Sarah found a quiet corner, her fingers trembling as she dialed the number left in the previous message. A man picked up on the first ring. "Sarah?" The voice was deep and gravely. "You don't know me, but I know you've been talking to Lily." Her breath hitched. "Who are you? What do you want with Lily?" "Just listen," he said, urgency creeping into his tone. "There are things about her father you need to understand. Dangerous things. He is not just an airline employee, and he is up to no good." "What do you mean?" Sarah felt a protective instinct swell within her. "What are you saying about him?" "The airline is a facade. He uses it to cover his real dealings. I've been watching him for years. He is involved in, let's just say, less than legal activities." The world around Sarah faded, leaving only his words hanging in the air. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I have evidence. And if you care about Lily, You'll want to see it. I can meet you in an hour. The old diner on Maple Street. Come alone. Before she could respond, he hung up, leaving her standing in the middle of a whirlwind. Clenching her fists tight, Sarah returned to the cafe, where Lily was still waiting, sipping a chocolate milkshake with a big smile. Everything okay? Lily asked, her innocence a stark contrast to the storm inside Sarah. Yeah, just a work thing, she said, forcing a smile. How about we stay here a little longer? We can chat about your trip. Lily nodded eagerly, her eyes sparkling. But in Sarah's chest, doubts knotted tightly. Was she really going to confront the truth? And if Lily's father was involved in something sinister, was she putting the girl in even more danger just by talking to her? The happy chatter around them felt foreign. Sarah glanced outside, her mind racing with worry. Soon, she'd have to leave and meet this man, this stranger who claimed to know all about Lily's father. Do you have everything packed for tomorrow? She asked Lily, trying to mask her fear with mundane conversation. Almost. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Lily's joy was infectious, but with each word, it churned a mix of dread in Sarah. What if this innocence was shattered? After another half hour of light chatter, Sarah made up an excuse to leave. I should get some things sorted for work. Can you get a ride home with your dad? Of course. Lily grinned, her excitement palpable. Sarah plastered on a smile, but inside she felt an ache for the girl's safety. As Sarah walked away, she felt the weight of her decision pressing down on her shoulders. She glanced back at the cafe, watching Lily wave goodbye, her carefree spirit shining. With clenched hands, Sarah headed towards the diner, the setting sun casting shadows that mirrored her growing fears. What would she uncover? And would it be possible to keep Lily safe once she knew? The questions roared inside her as she neared the diner, determination fueling her steps. But just as she approached the entrance, she noticed a figure standing by the door, a man with familiar features, those piercing eyes. Her breath caught. It was Lily's father, and he was staring right at her. What would he say? What would he do? Her heart thundered in her chest as their eyes locked. Sarah felt the ground beneath her shift. She took a hesitant step back, but there was nowhere to hide. Lily's father, Mark, stood tall and imposing, leaning against the doorframe with an expression that sent chills down her spine. Sarah, he called, his voice steady, almost casual. Fancy meeting you here. Mark. I was just words tangled in her throat, the weight of her intention hitting her like a freight train. How was she supposed to explain this? That she was here to find out if his shadowy past could hurt Lily. He pushed off from the door and walked towards her, his demeanor shifting from friendly to something more dangerous. Are you lost? Didn't you just come from that cafe? You seemed quite engrossed in conversation. The accusation hung in the air, thick and suffocating. I was catching up with Lily, Sarah stammered, desperate to remain composed. She hadn't expected to run into him. Not here, not now. Is that so? Mark took another step forward, invading her space. The smell of expensive cologne mixed with something more organic, threatening. You know, I don't appreciate anyone meddling in my business. Especially not a friend of my daughter's. Sarah's mind raced. She could feel the sweat gathering on the back of her neck. She needed to deflect. I'm just concerned about Lily. She's heading out of town tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure she was all set. A flicker of something anger, perhaps passed through his eyes, but it was gone just as quickly. Right. Just a good friend looking out for her. I hope you understand how important family is. The words felt like a warning. Is that what you're doing? Looking out for her? Sarah couldn't help but ask, anger brewing beneath her fear. The moment hung there, electric, charged with unspoken threats. He stepped back slightly, the tension easing. Family means everything, Sarah. You wouldn't want to interfere with that, now would you? His smile was thin, nearly a sneer. She felt exposed. The man was a facade, and the fear creeping in was a testament to his hidden life. Lily should be safe, she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Oh, she is. She's well taken care of, he assured her, but something in his tone sent a warning shiver down her spine. In fact, I think you should leave her alone. This world isn't as innocent as you think it is. Is that a threat? Sarah challenged, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Just good advice, he replied smoothly, his eyes narrowing thoughtlessly. Turning abruptly, he walked toward the diner door, but not before he glanced back at her with a look that made her stomach churn. I'll see you around, Sarah. And let us keep this friendly, shall we? She stood frozen, absorbing the full weight of his threat. Panic surged inside her. If he was capable of this intensity, what would he do to protect the darkness lurking behind his family's name? The instant he disappeared into the diner, Sarah felt urgency swell within her. She clutched her phone, desperate for the safety of that stranger who had called her. She had to know the truth. It wasn't just Lily's safety that hung in the balance. Now she feared for her own life as well. She had to act, and fast as Sarah turned to leave, her thoughts raced back to Lily. What if she lost not just her trust, but her companionship, everything beautiful and bright that intertwined their lives? She was running out of time, and as she hurried away from the diner, her phone buzzed again. A text from the mysterious man. "You're in over your head. Meet me, or risk losing everything you care about." Would she be strong enough to face the truth? To find out what lay behind those charming eyes? Her heart raced anew, uncertainty gnawing at her. Choices loomed ahead like shadows stretching across a narrow path. She had to make a decision, but which way would lead to safety, and which would lead her deeper into danger? Sarah took a deep breath, the chill of Mark's words still swirling in her mind. As she stepped onto the bustling street, the weight of his presence lingered in the air, mixing with the distant laughter of people enjoying their day. It felt surreal, the normalcy around her contrasting sharply with the turmoil churning inside. She walked quickly, her feet pounding against the pavement, as if they could shake off the anxiety wrapping around her like a second skin. The text flashed again, a persistent reminder of her choice. The stranger knew something she desperately needed to uncover, but she couldn't shake the feeling of dread. What did she really know about him? Her mind replayed the warning from Mark while the city buzzed on. She pulled out her phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she dialed Lily's number. "Come on, pick up," she murmured to herself, urgency creeping into her voice. Finally, the line clicked. "Hey, Sarah. Just getting ready. Can't talk long." "Lily, wait. Can we meet? I need to talk to you about your dad." "About Dad?" A pause, then a nervous laugh. "He is just being protective. You know how he is." "It's more than that." But the line went dead. Her heart dropped. There it was again, the feeling of being cut off, like a lifeline snapped in an instant. Mark's shadow loomed larger in the corners of her mind, casting doubt on everything she thought she knew about Lily. Conflicted, she hesitated on the crowded street corner, the buildings towering above her like sentinels. Should she trust her instincts and go meet the stranger? Or should she confront Mark directly, despite the threat that clung to him? Each option felt like plunging deeper into murky waters. Just then, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was an address and a time stamp beneath the earlier message. "Meet me at the old warehouse by the docks. Midnight." In an instant, adrenaline rushed through her veins. With every fiber of her being screaming that this was dangerous, she felt compelled to go to uncover the secrets that threatened to pull Lily's world apart. The docks were notorious, shadowy and quiet, but secrets thrived in the dark. She had to know what was hidden, what Mark protected so fiercely that it seeped into his gaze like poison. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of purple and gold, Sarah steeled herself. There was no turning back now. Minutes turned into an eternity as she watched the clock tick down. One last thought crossed her mind: did she hold Lily's future in her hands? Or was she putting herself into peril by prying into the hidden corners of Mark's life? With determination, she set out toward the docks, heart pounding with anxious anticipation that it wasn't just about questions anymore. It was about saving a friend from an unseen danger that seemed to be closing in. Would she find answers that could shield Lily from the truth or pull her deeper into the shadows? As the gritty ground crunched under her steps, she felt a cold shiver of both fear and resolve. What awaited her at that old warehouse? Would the answers free them or bind them to something darker? The night wore on as she reached her destination, breath hitching in her throat, knowing she was one step closer to uncovering the truth. The door to the warehouse loomed ahead, creaking slightly in the wind. And as her hand reached for the handle, she paused. Was she prepared for what lay beyond this threshold? Only one thing was clear: whatever happened next would change everything. As Sarah stepped through the creaking door, the warehouse smelled of salt and dampness, the air thick with the weight of history. Shadows danced on the walls, and the low light flickered from a single bulb hanging overhead, casting a glow on what appeared to be forgotten crates and remnants of an abandoned past. Her heart hammered as she moved deeper inside. The atmosphere felt charged, pregnant with anticipation like the calm before a storm. Would she find the truth? Or would these findings shatter the fragile connection she had formed with Lily? Sarah, the deep voice cut through the silence like a knife. She recognized him immediately. Mark stood at the far end of the room, hands stuffed deep in his pockets, his face half illuminated by the light. I didn't think you'd actually come. Fighting against the fluttering uncertainty in her stomach, she met his gaze bravely. I need to know what's going on. You can't keep Lily in the dark while hiding your true self. His lips twisted into a sardonic smile. And you think you know what's best for her? You don't know the half of it. Then tell me, she urged, stepping closer, anger mingling with concern. Because right now, you're only making it worse. Is she in danger? Mark hesitated, weighing his options as silence hung heavy between them. Finally, he sighed, his walls seeming to lower ever so slightly. There are forces far more dangerous than even you can imagine tied to this airline, he admitted, the confidence in his tone replaced with something akin to vulnerability. People think the airline is about luxury and convenience when in reality, it's a front for illegal dealings. Sarah's stomach dropped. What kind of dealings? We're involved with powerful players, including those tied to drug trafficking and money laundering. The airline route is just a cover, he said, his voice dropping to a whisper as if the walls had ears. I tried to keep Lily away from this world, but I'm losing grip. If they find out I'm trying to pull away, they won't hesitate to hurt her or anyone close to me. Shock coursed through her. She wanted to recoil, but stood her ground. So, you're allowing all this to happen, thinking it protects her? I do what I must to ensure her safety, he replied, his voice rising in intensity. But every moment I stay in this game, I risk dragging her deeper into a world that could consume her. Sarah's thoughts churned. Could she truly grasp the reality of what was unfolding? Everything she thought she knew was unraveling. Yet she couldn't help but feel a wave of empathy rush through her. And I'm here to help her escape, that if you'll let me. His expression shifted, revealing the conflict behind those steely eyes. You? How can you help when you barely understand what you're dealing with? I've connected with her. I see her for who she really is, a child yearning for something genuine. That's worth fighting for. The determination in Sarah's voice surprised even her. Mark regarded her carefully, then nodded. Perhaps, but you need to tread carefully. There are eyes everywhere. If we're working toward the same goal, you must keep an ear to the ground. An unsettling silence filled the room. Was this collaboration truly an answer, or would it risk everything? Suddenly, the warehouse door burst open, and shadows flooded in. Sarah's heart soared as she recognized a familiar face, Lily, her small frame stepping forward, wide eyes startled. Dad! Lily! What are you doing here? Mark's voice turned cold, and for the first time, a sharp panic pierced through him. I was looking for you, she exclaimed, glancing nervously between her father and Sarah. I thought you'd be here. Lily. Sarah rushed forward, dropping to one knee to meet the girl's gaze. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be. I came to find out what was happening. I heard Dad talking. Her voice wobbled. I was scared. At that moment, everything shifted. The urgency of protecting Lily surged through Sarah, intensifying her resolve. Mark, she said, her tone firm, she deserves to know everything. Keeping her in the dark is the worst thing you could do. Mark's expression was grave, yet trembling with uncertainty. Do you think she can handle this? This life isn't for her. I'm not afraid, Lily declared, surprising both adults. I want to know, just like Sarah does. Mark's facade crumbled under the weight of her words. Honey, it's not that simple, he explained gently, but she wasn't having it. I want to help. This is my family too, Lily insisted, courage burning in her young eyes. The intensity in the room grew overwhelming. Sarah glanced at Mark, whose entire demeanor appeared to shift as if he recognized the truth. I should have protected you, but I didn't want this world to touch you. His voice cracked, revealing a man torn between love and betrayal. This is about us, Dad, Lily replied, tears beginning to gather in her eyes, not hiding or pretending. We can face it all together. A silence hung in the air as Mark's shoulders sagged. The fight had gone out of him. Okay, he finally whispered, barely audible. If we're going to navigate this, we do it as a family. As a team, hope surged through Sarah's heart. Then let us make it happen. Together, we can find a way to protect Lily and end this chaos. They stood in a fragile circle, united against what loomed ahead. The warehouse felt less suffocating now, more like a launch pad to reclaim their lives. Shadows no longer felt like threats, but parts of a story that could change. Then we work fast, Mark said, determination glinting in his eyes. We expose them and disrupt their operations before they can act on us. Lily nodded fiercely, holding her father's hand. And I'll be by both your sides. We can beat this together. Standing side by side, their fears melted away. In that moment, a bond was forged indestructible. Sarah understood their journey had only just begun, but they would face it as a united front. I believe in you both, Sarah said, her heart soaring. Together, then, Mark affirmed, his voice steadier. Together, they stepped out of the shadows, ready to confront the darkness, armed with hope and a shared resolve to create a safe world. This was the moment where everything would change, not just for Lily, but for all of them. They walked into the unknown. Determination coursed through them, signaling a brighter future brighter ahead. Now it's your turn to take action. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories filled with heart, hope, and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. Your engagement really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. We want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformative journey. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know the power of spreading inspiration.